I strongly believe that the Pacers are going to fall off like no limit.
Oh, wow.
They're not going to make the playoffs this season.
Whoa.
I'm not high on them. And look, the great Hall of Famer Kevin Garnett, he told me this one time. He said, Bert, I always look at these young, up-and-coming all-stars, superstars, franchise players, and I want to see how they perform after they get the bag. And to me, I'm watching a guy like Tyrese Haliburton come into this season. I don't know if he's necessarily been putting in the work that he needs to put in.
Several months later.
And they respond after a 22-point loss here in Game 3 to move one step closer to a second straight trip to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Is the man retarded?
Get on, Kendrick Perkins. Once again, this sorry excuse of an NBA analyst gets owned with his horrific takes about the Pacers. This is Sports Guy talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about how Pacers haters are being proven wrong in the NBA playoffs. Again, the Pacers are currently one win away from advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals for the second consecutive season. At this point, it is more than clear that Rick Carlisle is one of the best coaches in the NBA right now. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So, here it is. Do the Pacers have a legitimate chance to win an NBA championship this season? I am going to say yes to this question. Although the Pacers should not be the favorites to win the NBA championship this season, I would say that the Pacers have a legitimate shot to win it all this year. It's not because I am overreacting to the Pacers overachieving again, but it is more so because of what the Pacers have done in the NBA playoffs and how they have a lot of experience when it comes to winning as the underdog. Kendrick Perkins said before the season started that the Indiana Pacers would miss out on the NBA playoffs, which was an absolute joke of a take at the time. I thought it was stupid of Kendrick Perkins to say that at the time. Obviously, Kendrick Perkins looks like an even bigger idiot saying this. The sad thing about this take is that it is not even worse than Kendrick Perkins' worst take ever, although it should be for most sports analysts. Of course, ESPN doesn't have actual analysts, so that's how you end up having that clown Kendrick Perkins talk about the game of basketball. Kendrick Perkins predicting the Indiana Pacers to miss out on the NBA playoffs should be considered one of the dumbest takes ever in sports history. Tyrese Haliburton had a slow start to the season. Yes, that's absolutely true, but because he struggled at the beginning of the season, you're going to overreact and say the Indiana Pacers are going to miss out on the NBA playoffs. Obviously, the Pacers have come out there and proven everyone wrong. I saw the Indiana Pacers were doubted against the Milwaukee Bucks. Some people were talking about how Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's the best player in this series, which means the Bucks should come out of that series victorious. Although that statement is half true, obviously it takes more than one player in order to win a basketball game. And although Giannis Antetokounmpo is indeed a special player, the Milwaukee Bucks roster simply did not compete against the Indiana Pacers. Obviously, the Indiana Pacers are a deeper basketball team than what the mainstream media is reporting. They have plenty of solid role players. Quite frankly, their team is underrated all around. Tyrese Haliburton is listed as the most overrated player, but I think Tyrese Haliburton is actually underrated, if anything. How many times do you see Tyrese Haliburton's name being mentioned at ESPN? Not that often, if any. I also want to show you guys this clip of Rick Carlisle speaking to the media. He addressed what the players need to focus on. Obviously, the Pacers are up 3-1 in this series against the Cavs. However, we all know that 3-1 leads can be blown easily in the NBA. Rick Carlisle is trying to send a message to his team to keep fighting and to keep going through the finish line because he knows it's not going to get any easier from here on out. Roll the film.
We haven't done anything yet. We're a pretty significant underdog in every game we've played in this series, and that will continue till the end. And we're going to keep approaching this like we have everything to prove, and we know people don't believe in us, and so we're going to just stay in the fight and keep fighting. All the things about the scores and all that is just meaningless. That this game is now history, and so we got to stay in the present moment as much as we can, try to maintain an edge. There's going to be a big haymaker coming on whatever day it is, Tuesday, and that building is one of the few buildings that rivals Gamebridge for noise and fan enthusiasm and everything else. So we respect the heck out of their fans and what they got going there. So a lot of work to do.
Correct! That is how a championship level coach talks. Rick Carlisle obviously has experience of winning an NBA championship. He won one in 2011 with the Dallas Mavericks. I know some Rick Carlisle haters are going to tell me, oh, that was 14 years ago. Who really cares if Rick Carlisle won a championship then? But it's not your typical NBA championship. This was not a super team formed while the coach was just standing around on the sidelines. Rick Carlisle actually coached the Dallas Mavericks to an NBA championship with only one All-Star on the roster, which was Dirk Nowitzki. Obviously, that Dallas Mavericks team was not even close to a super team. They weren't even favored to get past the second round of the NBA playoffs that season. Rick Carlisle knows a thing or two about winning a championship as an underdog, and he understands that the Indiana Pacers are going to be facing a similar situation moving forward. I know the Pacers were favored to beat the Bucks in round one, but obviously they haven't really been favored against the Cavaliers. The Cavaliers have been favored in a lot of these games in this series, and the Indiana Pacers have done nothing but prove the bettors wrong. Of course, it's going to be that way moving forward from here on out. Even if the Indiana Pacers beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're not going to be favored against the Boston Celtics. They're not going to be favored against the New York Knicks. They're not going to be favored against whoever they play in the NBA Finals. The Indiana Pacers are going to be looked at as true underdogs. They also are one of the faster paced teams in the NBA, so obviously they know how to wear down opponents, which is a big reason why you're seeing injuries occur against the Indiana Pacers. Obviously, the Indiana Pacers, their experience when it comes to winning playoff series, that's why they made the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They're going to make it again this year. They're going to win Game 5 against the Cavs. We don't even know if Donovan Mitchell is going to play in that ball game, but even if the Cavs somehow win Game 5, I got the Indiana Pacers winning Game 6. They're going back to the Eastern Conference Finals for the second consecutive season. I guarantee that prediction will come true. It's time for the mainstream media and other players in the NBA to start respecting the Indiana Pacers. Their haters have to quite frankly shut up and just get owned with their takes. Tyrese Haliburton is going to continue hitting clutch shots for the Indiana Pacers, and the Indiana Pacers at this rate, they have a chance to win an NBA championship. I'm not going to pick them to win the championship, but if somebody told me the Indiana Pacers became NBA champions this year, I'm not going to be surprised one bit, because I know they're a well-coached team that has a guy that can hit clutch shots when it matters most. They got a deep roster, and they're going to not beat themselves. That's what the Indiana Pacers are really great at in the NBA playoffs. They're great at not beating themselves with mistakes. I expect that trend to continue. Like I said, I'm not expecting an NBA championship from the Indiana Pacers, but do I think they have a chance? Absolutely. The Pacers just have to go out there and play their game. I'm excited to see what the results are going to be. So that is why the Pacers have a legitimate chance to win an NBA championship this season, as Rick Carlisle has proven to be one of the best head coaches in the NBA on several different occasions. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking. Like the video and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That will be for the @DustinNashTran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinNashTran, and that's Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinNashTran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.